Hey, okay, so in this video, I wanted to talk about a few things to do with cleaning out your computer, backing up your stuff, hard drives, all that fun stuff, the sexy stuff. So, we are going to cover three topics, a little bit more in depth on some of them, a little bit less so on others, but let's get into it. Okay, so we are covering, like I said, how to find what you're using on your computer for storage wise, how to clean it up, how to back up your files, and find the best workflow that works for you. And we're going to cover some stuff about hard drives. I am covering this information for and on a Mac, so there is mainly Mac geared information here, but I do think that some of the stuff is applicable to Mac and PC at the same time. And there's also a PDF to download with this video that gives you a little bit more in-depth tools and links to different tools that are PC friendly as well. Okay, so to see what your Mac is using for storage, you would just go to this little Apple icon in your top nav bar here, and then you would go about this Mac and storage. And you will see what your Mac is using, how much and for what. You will see how much storage you have as well. Mine has 121 gigabytes. It's pretty good storage, except I do a lot of graphics and web design, so my storage gets eaten up a lot. Plus I have a little girl and I take a hell of a lot of pictures. Plus I had a previous business doing photography, so I do have a lot of heavy files that take up a lot of room. So if you're like me, cool. If not, cool. This also applies to you. Don't go anywhere just because you don't think this is going to apply. So the only reason this wouldn't apply is if you have more than enough storage, you don't give a crap, and yeah, that's pretty much it. But if you do have concerns about storage, usage, hard drives, all that kind of stuff, or if you're just like a geek like me and you want to know more, stick around. So after you go in and see what the dealio is in here, you would go and you would Google Omni Disk Sweeper. And like I said, I have the PDF file, so you have all of this with links to the respective softwares, programs, websites, whatever, so you don't have to write any of this down. So if you go to Omni Disk Sweeper and you come across this site, this is not where you want to be. You want to go to the omnigroup.com website. You want to download the software, and you know what to do, right? You just install it like you would any other software and run it. I'm not actually going to take you through the whole process, as I've done this for my computer a few times, but I will just show you what it looks like. So I don't believe I have it in here. I think I've ejected it already, but I'm just going to go and find it in my Launchpad. So there it is right now. So once you launch the application, you can see your hard drives that are available for scanning right there, and you want to scan the one that obviously has all of your files on it. It's my Macintosh HD for me. And when you open it up, you see this window that comes up, and you see it kind of moving along and thinking on the left hand side here. This is it, just scanning your computer and finding all of the files. And it has files in order of size, largest to smallest, top to bottom. Okay, so it's gonna keep doing this for a few minutes. You can just keep an eye out on this top bar there where it says 28.9 gigabytes, 29.5, 29.6, and so on and so forth. When that number stops climbing, it's done its thing, and you can go ahead and peruse through here. So you would just click on a folder like usual and just kind of move through and see where your biggest files are, and things that can be deleted or kept. You will probably have some surprises on there, especially if you're like me and you have, like Camtasia and you're filming videos and You have, Adobe Suite on there and all of that good stuff, where you have a lot of pictures. It will take up a lot of extra room, things that you didn't even know kind of existed. Like for me, if you go into, let me see, into users here, and then into my name, and then if you go into movies and you do have something like Camtasia, you'll see in temporary recordings here, these temporary recordings can take up a lot of room. The first time that I did this, I went into my Apple store because my computer had 77 gigs of extra crap that I had no clue where it was. And it turned out that half of that capacity was being used by Camtasia temporary recordings. So just make a habit out of checking your computer, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever, and just clearing out any files that are not worth keeping. But do make sure that you don't delete anything you have no clue what it is. Deleting stuff that you have no clue what it is, then obviously you're deleting things that are part of programs and applications, and this could compromise the way that they run and their integrity. Also, if you have Adobe Suite at all on your computer, if you have it installed on your computer, Adobe Suite is notoriously large and in charge and takes up a lot of room. So you will see that does take up a lot of room. Okay, so I'm going to stop this, although it's probably stopped itself at this point. So like I said, just go in through here and just see if there is anything that can be deleted. Like if you have applications that you don't use, like all those apps on your phone that are just taking up room and running in the background for no good reason, kind of the same thing with your computer. Just get rid of it. Okay, so I'm just gonna quit that, and so let's talk a little bit about the different kind of hard drives. So your computer, what's inside of your computers, your laptops and your desktops, is called a solid state drive, and it is a little bit different than an external hard drive, which is something that you would go to the store and you would buy for extra capacity. Like if you have a small MacBook Air like I do that doesn't have a lot of memory, you would buy an external hard drive, or you'd build a tower if you were a PC user and really adept at that kind of stuff. So the difference is the solid state drive, which is in your computers. That's a little bit more durable than an external hard drive. It does fail. It does have a lifespan. It's not going to go on forever. And once that one fails, it fails for good. I know there's some companies out there that say they can work their magic and recover all your data. There's no data that's lost forever. I haven't seen it personally. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen for you, but what I've been told is once that hard drive goes, it goes. So when you're talking about an external hard drive, the acronym used for that is HDD. So if you ever see that somewhere, they're talking about an external hard drive. The analogy that was used for me, and that made the most sense for me, was that think of your external hard drive like one of those old school record players where you have the record and then you have the arm with the needle that comes over it and reads the information on the record. Well, this is the same thing, except that the information is being either written or read by the arm. And these are more fragile. Okay, they're not fragile all around. You don't have to treat them like a, breakable egg 24/7. More so when it's actually plugged into your computer than when it's not. But, don't go around tossing it like it's indestructible. There is 3 reasons overall why your hard drive dies, your external hard drive. The first one is that it has a lifespan of probably like 5 to 6 years, and only 50% of devices actually make it to this actual age, I guess you could call it, and the other 50% obviously don't. So it could just be your hard drive's time to go. Mine died prematurely about maybe 2 years into its life. Actually, mine didn't quite die. It was the controller card that went on it, and that is completely fixable. I'm not sure if it came tampered with or whatever to begin with, but it definitely had some issues right out of the gate when I bought it that I wasn't aware of. I'll touch on that in a second. But the other two reasons why your hard drive would die is, so the second reason would be if you're not ejecting it properly. If you're on a Mac and you have something plugged in and you go into your Finder folder right here and under devices, you would see what devices you have plugged in that need to be ejected properly, and your external hard drive is one of these. So if you are in a rush and you're like, oh shit, I need to run and I need to eject my hard drive, and you just unplug it from the device, this causes issues, especially if it's writing or reading information, and just completely not advisable to do on a Mac device. Okay, so just come in here, come in your Finder, go under devices and actually physically eject it, and then unplug the cord when the name of that device is gone. Okay, and then the third reason why it might fail is if you're a mom like me or a parent or somebody that's hard on their devices. You move your stuff from room to room, you move your laptop, your external hard drive is plugged in still, it's thinking, it's doing its thing in the background, and when you move it, well, you're not supposed to move it while it's plugged into a computer. It's supposed to be stationary, so if it's doing its thing and thinking, and you've picked up your laptop and your hard drive is sitting on it, and you move it to another room because your kids moved on to the next thing, or you want to go downstairs and watch a movie and whatnot, could also be what speeds up its demise, because that arm that reads and writes information is potentially damaging the actual hard drive. So, your hard drive needs to sit nice and still on a desktop somewhere, literally like on the surface of your desk. And if you do need to move from room to room, take a second, save your work, close down everything, like the programs that are being used, and eject it through your Finder window right here. And then that will ensure that you have a little bit more life left and available to your drive than if you didn't. So I had gone in and I had bought a Lacy Rugged edition, something that's supposed to be, be able to be dropped from 5 feet, blah, 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 blah. I was about to have a kid, and I'm very hard on my electronics myself. So, the last guy that I talked to at Apple swore up and down that they give us some information, but I swear that I was not given any information regarding hard drives. So that's neither here nor there. Totally my bad on this. I think as a business owner, you should take the time to make your own informed decisions and do your homework and all of that in regards to especially important things like this, like your storage and your hard drive and your files and all of that. It's kind of like, getting pulled over by the cops and saying, sorry, officer, don't give me a ticket because I don't know the law. I'm not a lawyer. They won't not give you a ticket. They'll be like, sorry, dumbass, right? You're driving, you're in a car, you're operating a vehicle. You need to know what you're talking about when you are doing that. So, not bashing Apple or anything. I totally love them and continue to give them my business, but I do wish they had some sort of program to educate us when we buy hard drives, because I was like, oh, cool, I can drop my hard drive from 5 feet, whatevs, I'm good. Yeah, that's kind of like the lowdown, the non-techie, non-super high-level lowdown on your hard drives. Like I said, my hard drive was actually the controller cards that failed. So what actually happened is there's 2 partitions in my hard drive, one that backs up my actual computer files and then one that stores all my files. And the partition that stored all my files is not being read by that controller card. So I can actually just go in and change that and switch it out, and I will be good to go. And I should, fingers crossed, don't jinx me, be able to recover all of my files and nicely move them over to another hard drive. I have chosen to do that myself, geek out a little bit, so I do need a little bit of specialty cables, and by specialty I mean one of the sides needs to be a USB connection, because I do run on a Mac. And yeah, so for me it's a little bit more clear, cut and dry, you know, I escaped the bullet type of situation. If you find yourself in a situation where you're plugging in your hard drive into your computer and it really doesn't read anything, you can take a couple routes. You can do what I did and take it into a place like Memory Express. I'm not sure exactly what the US equivalent is down there, but if you have a facility where you can take in your laptops and your devices for maintenance, repair, and all of that, take it into them. They do what is called a hard drive health check, and they will tell you exactly what is happening with your hard drive and exactly next steps that you can follow. So for me, they obviously told me that my controller card is damaged, and that was it for me. I can either do it myself or send it into a data recovery center so that they can recover my data for me. And so yeah, first steps for you would be to take it in for diagnostics. And then for recovery, you have a couple of options. You can do it yourself. There is, what is it called? Data Rescue 4. Okay, sorry. My little girl came in with her data. They wanted some attention. Anyways, so I was saying that if you want to DIY this yourself, or at least attempt to, before you send it over to a actual data recovery center and spend the big bucks, then you can go and search for Data Rescue 4, which is something that's also included in your PDF, I do believe. And what they have is they have a free version of their software that you upload onto your computer and install, and you run it with your external hard drive hooked up, and it tells you if there's actually anything to recover. Right? And then if it does find stuff, then you go ahead and you purchase the actual software, the full package. And it's quite discounted from the big guys from sending it into a data recovery center. It's probably like, I don't know, I think when I looked at it, it was like $70 or something for the software to do the recovery of your files, which is peanuts. I have two companies here in town where I live. One of them is $200 and then the other one is $850. Or no, $900. Starts at $900, okay? So, you know, even $200 compared to $70, you know, that's a nice dinner for you and your wife or whatever, right? And then the difference between that and starting at $900 is astronomical. So if you want to do the DIY route, then I would recommend something like Data Rescue 4. When I took my Lacey into Memory Express, they wouldn't touch it because they didn't want to break the seal and break the warranty on it, which when I actually took the rubber outside off of my Lacey hard drive, the seal was actually already broken. So I took it apart and I looked at it because there is a place where you can go online. It's called Drive Donors, I do believe, and you can go look for the serial number and they can send you a good usable part that matches yours or very closely to, and you can replace it. So, you know, if you are okay with, at the very least, taking your hard drive apart, taking the case off and exposing the guts of it, then a place like Memory Express might be able to take you back in and help you themselves without you having to send it off. I honestly don't know what their cost would be or if they actually would but it's always worth a shot, right? If you don't really care about cost, if the information on your hard drive is worth more than your life, then by all means go ahead and try some of these data recovery providers. I do give you some options in that PDF that I've mentioned a couple times now. There's a couple in the States, and then there's a couple that I've mentioned in my hometown where I live. I have no idea if the two where I live take out-of-towners. I don't see why not. They'd be stupid to refuse anyone based on the fact that they're not in town. So just give them all a try. Like I said, I have a very upset baby apparently. Like I said, one of them was really reasonable, $200. When I saw that, I was like, what? They're drunk. Like, I think they're missing a zero. However, try them all out, read their reviews. You know, maybe your Memory Express or your Apple store or your whatever store has better recommendations for your area of where you live. So exhaust all of your options and all of your search before you make a decision on who to send your data to for recovery. Repair, again, things like controller cards are replaceable. You can again go to Memory Express and have them do that for you, or you can do it yourself if you feel like mucking around with that. And then I kind of just wanted to touch on, like, listen to your gut. When you're having hard drive issues, sometimes it's nothing noticeable, nothing you can do about it, but sometimes, like with my hard drive, I had issues with it from the beginning, and I should have just listened to my gut. And I shouldn't have let somebody... I just took a quick break here to put the little girl to sleep. Well, to get her ready for sleep. Her dad's taking her in her room, which is next door. So hopefully there's not a lot of noise. Anyways, I don't remember what I was saying. Something about that I love Apple still, but I wish they had better service surrounding the sale of hard drives. Because I had issues with my hard drive from the get-go. It just kept ejecting, self-ejecting, and I think I had my cord for about, the cord that it originally came with for about 6 months, and it kept ejecting, and I took it down to Apple, and they said, oh, just it's the cord, get a new cord. I should have listened to myself, and I should have known better. That is usually not what it seems like, and I should dig in and do a little bit more homework, but no excuses. But I didn't do it. So it's gotten to this point where my controller card failed, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so listen to your gut. If your gut says it's more than just this, go and ask some more questions, okay? Don't just take no for an answer or blah, blah, XYZ for an answer. Do your homework. Take it to a place that actually diagnoses hard drives and get them to do a health check on it, and they'll be able to tell you if there's something wrong with it or not. But, you know, in hindsight, it is just the controller card. It's totally fixable, replaceable, and I wouldn't be so immersed in this hard drive story and, you know, learning all this cool stuff and being able to sit here and pass on what I know to you guys. There's always an upside to every story. So let's talk a little bit about backup solutions, storage solutions, and that fun stuff. Again, very sexy topic. I know everyone is dying to talk about this. So really, there's no clear solution that I can just say, you know, do this and this and this, and this is gonna work. It really is dependent on you, your needs, your business, what you're storing, what you're using, your workflow, your day, how your day gets set up. For me, it was very easy to have my Lacy plugged into my laptop at all times and work off of the files on there, have everything on there. You know, I would download stuff and I would transfer it over to the Lacy right away to clear up the memory on my computer because I was having issues with computer memory, etc. Because of all the large apps that I run on my computer, namely the Adobe suite. And so for me that worked. It may not work for everyone. So a couple things you could do, like Dropbox. You could have your stuff in Dropbox. You can work on your text files and whatnot in Dropbox, Excel files. You can work on them in there. And then weekly or bi-weekly or monthly or whatever, you could come into your Dropbox folder on your computer, copy it all, and upload it to the cloud and erase the last version of your backup, right? So that is one solution. You could keep your pages and numbers files on the iCloud if you don't have a lot of them. You could do Amazon S3 service. There's two that, let me just find the other name, and I have it in this file for you. Okay, so I'm not saying this right, probably. Acronis.com is a online backup service, and so is this Backblaze, which was recommended to me by the Apple guy. Okay, so if you just need backup of your computer, if your computer is your storage device, you can just back all that up to the cloud. Obviously there's iCloud for Mac. So just do your research, kind of, map out how your day goes, where your files are. You can also do Google Drive if you have a Gmail account, or if you are using your domain email through the Gmail service provider. Like for your personal files, for your personal pictures, Amazon Prime has unlimited photo storage, just things like that. So do your research, map out your workflow, see what works for you, and do it. That is the only thing that I have to say out of this entire thing, is just do it. Like, if your business files are important to you, if your personal files are important to you, if you have kids and you have a gazillion pictures, if you have a web design business like me and you have a gazillion files and customer folders and that you're working on and previous customers and whatnot that you're going to have to access over time, do your research now. Don't muck around, and pick something and implement it like in the next 3 days, right? Because you never know what is going to happen. Like the first time I took my computer in to have my memory looked at and to see where all the memory was being stored that I could clear out for more room on my computer, the guy was like, oh, if your hard drive self-ejects like that could compromise your files. And I'm like, don't give me a heart attack. And then my partner and I talked about it for like a week, trying to decide what storage solution to use and migrate my files to, and then we never did anything. And then, like a month later, this happened. So don't waste time. That's the only thing that I'm going to press on you. I guess I could also say that there's a couple of different ways that you can get your files back. Like if you use email, have you emailed files to people that you can retrieve through your sent folder? Like, I'm a little bit of a hoarder, I guess. I don't know. Or busy, or I just don't give a shit about clearing out my emails and sent folders and all of that. So I could go through my sent folders and I can go back and be like, oh, I sent this person, a copy of my regular contract that I send out to people with adjustments made for them. So I can just retrieve that and I can take out the parts and have my base contract again. Or, I have a Creative Market, whatchamacallit, account, and I could go in there and I can go through my purchases and download everything again. Or my Adobe stock, I can go through my license history and just things like that. I have a shared Dropbox folder with my partner because he's my business partner as well. And he's like, oh, there's this video in here. Can I delete it? I'm like, no, I've been looking for that. I need it. Thank you. So there's different ways to recover your data, at least part of it, without actually doing the full data recovery story and, the whole shebang with your hard drive. Obviously, you're not going to get everything. There's obviously going to be a lot of stuff that needs to be left for the backup and retrieve for whoever's doing it, either yourself or the company you're sending your stuff to. That's kind of, just put your thinking cap on and just see what you can retrieve in the immediate future that you can use right now. that might be useful to you. So again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, if you're a PC user and you have something amazing, revolutionary, or just something that works for you that you'd like to share with the rest of the audience, another person going through this that's on a PC and not a Mac, please go ahead and drop me a line. I would be more than happy to jump on and do like a quick little tutorial side by side with you, or if you just want to send me your process through whatever email, that would be wonderful as well. And don't forget to download the PDF that goes with this, and we will see you soon. Oh, and by the way, if I remember to, I'm going to do a video follow-up to this to let you know, either a video on me swapping out my controller card or how this turned out and the rest of my journey with recovering my files off of my Lacey. So we shall talk to you soon.